So, dude, this is interesting. Tell me about your Europe trip.
After almost 2 years of convincing my dad, he finally let me do it alone. And I went to Lollapalooza in Berlin. Like,
Nice.
I went all over the place. I went to Germany, Austria, Sweden, the Netherlands, Ireland, Belgium, France, and Slovakia.
How long was this?
It was like 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. I think it's funny. People say when you travel alone, you like learn so much about yourself and all these things. Like, I don't feel like I learned more about myself. I think I just had a damn good time. Like, I just had so much fun. That's all.
So you probably did not, whatever your outlook is on if you learned something or not, but like think about Priyanka, like before you left for the trip, and the Priyanka who came back from the trip.
Yeah.
Like there's something different about them, right?
Yeah, actually you're right. There is.
Like maybe it's not like you like had this epiphany, but I have like this very strong belief that when you do intense shit, like it changes you in a certain way.
Yeah.
Like obviously like all your experiences are changing you in some way or the other, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But when there's like really intense, like good things and bad things, like for some kids it's like bad breakups or whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
for some people it's like psychedelic trips.
Yeah, that's true.
These intense experiences just like literally change you.
Yeah. I feel like you're right. That's a really good way to put it. I definitely, because of the trip, became more confident in myself.
Okay.
And it's like the thing I was talking about, bodily autonomy. Like, I think I just seeing the way the culture was different over there, the way people lived, like literally doing everything on my own. Like, I just had so much more comfort in myself and who I was. And I met people who like opened my eyes to different, like what I thought were different standards of beauty and different aspects of beauty, but it all came from within.
Right.
So it just like gave me more confidence within my own skin and my own body and my own soul. Like I would say that actually it did change me. Wow, I didn't even think of that. Like it did.
Dude, thinking about this, like I love podcasts, and one reason I'm making this massive shift from what we were talking about, but like that's the thing I like about conversations, man. Like when you talk about stuff, like you're also thinking about it.
Yeah.
And there's like now opportunity to think about it in a new way because you're talking to like this guy Karan who you've never
never really
before.
met.
So now you're like new ways of your brain's literally working in new ways. So that's why I like conversations,
That's true. It's like thinking out loud. You're letting someone just think out loud to them. That's really cool. I like that.
Bouncing ideas.
Yeah.
And then so many ideas I've just had while I'm talking. Like
really?
I'm almost on this like connecting dots, and I'm like, wow, I never thought about this.
And then it's there.
Right, yeah.
Tell me more about your trip, when you went to India with your undergrad friends.
Undergrad friends. Yeah.
And you learned more about
this was
India?
2016, right? The most important thing was Varanasi.
Yeah.
Dude, because it's insane. This city is on the banks of like Ganga, right? And ever since you're a kid, you hear all about the river Ganga and you know how sacred it is. And even if it's not sacred, it's like this massive river that the entire country is built around, right?
Yeah.
So you go there, and this Varanasi, right? It's definitely developed, but like the banks of the river, it's the same as it's always been.
That's cool.
And they say it's like the continuously inhabited city, the oldest continuously inhabited city.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like you can take these boat tours, right?
Yeah.
So you go on the river, and then it's the craziest thing because on the river banks there's like different activities there's like temples, there's what do you call them? Crematoriums,
where you like when people
die
pass
and
away,
you
you
burn
them. Yeah.
I'm using the worst terms. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But you're on this, we're on this boat ride, right? And we see this piece of like the bank where people are doing the ceremony, cremations. And like people are crying. You can hear them, right? Like people are loudly crying, and like literally right next to it, there's laughing yoga.
Wow.
So there's like people.
Wild. That's
how does
crazy.
that exist in the same city? Forget city, it's like right next to each other.
In the same vicinity. Wow.
Yeah, like people are dying and families crying. Right next to it, there's like laughing yoga. Right next to it, there's probably like these old sadhus like smoking up and people giving pravachans about whatever their understanding of life is, which I'm still into.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like one of the most interesting cities that I've ever been to.
I feel like I don't know how much you feel about this, but I feel like places that are like that have so much spiritual energy. Like you can feel the energy there.
Yeah.
Was it like that? Like it just felt different.
It does.
There.
Yeah. What do you think it's because? I have my theory, but I don't know if I want to know what you think. Why that is?
In areas like that, there's so much life and death and rebirth that has gone around there, and like the embodiment of your soul and your body and your aura, I feel like they never really leave places.
Okay.
You know, like yeah, your physical body leaves, but I think the spiritual impressions people have left behind don't. And places that are that old, they carry so much history and so much intelligence and so many spirits, so many bodies that have lived and died and left impressions, that I think it's a culmination of all of that. It's just the state of being that place is in it's just everything all in one.
It's just been there forever. If you just like personify it, that's like an older guy as compared
it's
to
a wise
like
guy.
Tempe.
Yeah.
Like Tempe is like a teenager, and then Varanasi is like this old
Old
guy.
Town Scottsdale.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I get that. That's like, yeah. I think I feel the same way. I just do not have the right words for it. But like in the whole Hindu culture, right? It's like a thing. You want to die at the river Ganga.
Yep.
And
you want to scatter your ashes.
Right.
There. Yeah.
And you can't dismiss like such an old tradition saying it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like as much as I try to be not, when you're a kid, you're like, I want to rebel against everything that's traditional.
I don't want to be Indian. I don't want to.
But as much as I grow, I'm like, you can't just dismiss traditions like that. It's like this battle between like tradition and progress.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be progressive, but then you also can't like just dismiss everything that's traditional. You have to like take the good things with you.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's missing kind of in Phoenix?
I don't feel that culture or that community like in Arizona, and I think a reason is because there's just so many different walks of people. Like there's not one thing that ties us all together.
Right.
You know, like in India, when you think about it, like you have people who are Hindus, you have people who are Sikhs, you have people who are everything. But at the end of the day, like the deep-rooted culture, kind of, it's the same for everyone. It ties everyone together. And you're right, like I feel like that's missing in Arizona. You don't feel it.
You know what? I feel like connected to what you were saying, like the Hindus and Muslims and Sikhs in India.
Yeah.
Like I've always had a feeling that a Muslim from India, that Muslim guy feels different to me than a non-Indian Muslim.
Yes, definitely.
Like the Indian Muslim is a very specific type.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just my bias because I am Indian. But
yeah, no, but it's true though, because I feel like it's like country and culture. Sometimes you just feel and their thought is different too, because if you see a Muslim who grew up in America versus a Muslim who grew up in Pakistan versus a Muslim who grew up in India,
Saudi or India,
all of it is different because the impressions of their community are different. The Indian impressions are different than the Pakistani impressions are different from the Saudi impressions, right? So it's like I totally agree with that. Like it's weird because their religion is the same. What ties them together is the same, but what ties us together is different.
Right.
Yeah. Like my parents, they were born in India and they came here.
Okay.
And a lot of their ideas that they have are more traditional Indian. And they've evolved definitely as like my older brother and I have grown up, and I more so than some have forced them to evolve. Sorry mom, sorry dad. But like I see my cousins in India and their parents are more Western than mine are in some aspects when it comes to like dating or when it comes to this and that. So this, I guess, is a tangent off the colonial aspect of it, but it's also interesting to see the shift in like tradition in the Western world and how the Western world has influenced the traditions in India, like how it's swapped.
Dude, I feel what you're saying.
Right?
Like I totally understand, and I feel why that my parents are not American, right? So this is totally an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like this group of Indians, right? Probably your parents and like their friends, they came to America, and they still want to feel connected to where they came from, right?
Exactly.
But the India that they came from has evolved, right?
Yeah.
Like not evolved, but
it's changed.
It's changed.
It's different.
But because they left at a certain point, they're still there. Like they're still in the 60s or 70s or 80s.
Whenever
of
it is
India,
they left. Yeah.
Which is why I feel like there's a disconnect between like American Indians kind of are different kinds of Indians because they're like from a different zone almost,
But like what's cool about it though is that like back when I was a kid, I'd be like, I hate being Indian. I used to wear green colored contacts. I dyed my hair blonde for a little bit. Like I just hated being Indian and looking Indian. And I realize now if my parents hadn't been so incessant on wanting to make sure, like, at least I understood my Indian heritage and my culture, and like they sent me there for a year when I was 2. Sent me back almost
when you were 2.
Yeah, I lived there for a year with my dadi and dada.
Nice.
I went back almost every single year. Like, if they hadn't had that desire to put those impressions on me, like what I told you is I feel more Indian than I do feel American. Like, yeah, maybe the way I dress sometimes is less Indian, or I am comfortable going out to parties, which is, you know, less traditional Indian mindset, you know, but the family aspect, what I believe, my ethics and my morals and how I wish to treat people and be perceived, I feel like are more tied to Indian culture. But I wouldn't have that if my parents weren't as strong on wanting my brother and I to grow up with that.
Right. It's kind of cool that you realize, like, there's that self-realization that you have, right?
Yeah, which I wish I had it back when I was a kid, so I wasn't such an ass to my parents, but like now I have it.
But it's cool, yeah, that's an interesting person. Dude, I feel like this is so sad, but I see Indians like back in Mumbai, like who are still in India. I feel like they are trying to be more American.
Yeah.
You know?
They are.
And because it's whatever, right? Like, it's the curse of being Indian. Like, it's almost like, you know, always like Americans say, hey, your English is pretty good. I'm like, yeah, we hide our self-identity issues like, by learning good English, you know? That's what we do in school. Like, my school literally had a rule where if you spoke in Hindi, you would get punished.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You'd be like punished or whatever because you have to speak in English.
That's crazy.
Which is like cool because like they want you to like succeed, because like in the world you have to,
English is a global language.
Like a global language, but then it creates this like negative connotation to like your natural national language, which is kind of like messed up, you know?
Yeah. Or like, and even it's funny on the flip side of that too, like in America, I remember mama would give me like roti sabji or dal chawal for lunch when I was going to class, and I would get made fun of, like, oh, your food, like, why is it yellow? Why does it look like that? Why does it smell like that?
Kids actually said that?
Oh, kids were so...
Kids are like just assholes.
My friends in 7th and 8th grade, they would say that to me. They were so mean, and it made me hate being Indian and hate, like, this part of our culture. And now I see their, like, social media pages, and it's like, I love chicken tikka masala, or I love this. So it's also interesting to see, like, over here, how the products of our society make us want to be less of who we are. Just like in India, the products of seeing what Western societies like make them want to change who they are. It's like, it's sometimes you think like the grass is always greener on the other side, but in this case, sometimes it's not. Like, you still feel the pressures to not be true to your culture, no matter where you're at.
Right.
You know.
But yeah, what you're saying, I sense that in a lot of Indian people.
Yeah.
You know, the negative, like, they don't want to be Indian almost, you know? They're like, it's just kind of sad, man. I won't lie, like, I remember there was a time, and this is me being pretentious, okay?
Go.
But like when I was in my undergrad, like, I saw people who like changing accents, because I had that feeling, like, you know, when you come here, I'm like, I was 19.
Yeah.
I did not know anything about anything.
Baby.
I was dude, I was a baby until I like sophomore year of college.
You're only 7 right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I realized that, you know, me speaking in a different accent is a thing. You know? It's it's even if I'm not different, it makes me like significant in a group of people just because I talk differently.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, dude, like, you cannot change your accent because you want to fit in.
Yep.
And I feel like that decision is like, it could have gone either way, and I don't know what is good or bad, but I remember making a very like conscious choice of, dude, roll your R's even when people, you know, like, try to stick with it. Like, people will understand what you're saying. Like, you know, I don't know, I'm just rambling, but...
No, you're not, but it's true. Like, language is a huge part of your self-identity, and when you change your accent, when you change the way you speak, you're deliberately losing part of your self-identity.
Yeah.
So making the conscious decision to say, like, I love who I am, I love where I come from, like, this is who I am, this is me, then... Oh, that scared me. Then it's like... that's you coming to the realization of like embracing your true self.
Yeah.
You know, and whether it's you make the decision to stop rolling your R's forever, or whether you make the decision to keep speaking how you naturally speak, that's just you embracing what you want your self-identity to be.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's not right or wrong, but it is sad to see people lose their culture.
Right.
But
it
once
is
again,
sad. Yeah.
That's ultimately their decision. What can you do about it?
Yeah.
But it's still sad.
The funny thing is, I did my best not to change my accent,
Really?
but I'm from Mumbai, right?
Yeah.
And there's a very different way of how people from Mumbai talk and people from Delhi talk.
Yeah, the Delhi
Dude,
Delhi accent.
all my friends are from like Delhi.
The Delhi
so
boys.
As much as I like did not change my accent to American, I started talking like a Delhi boy because I was like, "Bhai, kya chalo?" Like the first time I went back to India, my friends were like, why are you talking like this? I was like, dude, I don't even know because all my friends were from Delhi. Like when I came here.
No. Oh, that's so funny.
Like it's almost like once I started talking like that, I've avoided talking in Hindi when I'm in like polite company because it's
you
just
just
in
sound
me.
like a Delhi boy
yeah.
now.
It's just in me. Like when I start talking in Hindi, I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
oh, like when you grow up in like Mumbai, you have this stupid idea about the rest of the country.
Oh,
but it's only
like,
when you go out, you're like, oh, these are normal places. It's not like it's
not a gaon.
Right.
You go there, it's gonna be a gaon. Yeah. No.
It's
okay,
cool.
wait.
Yeah.
Like very topic change because I keep looking at your tattoo and now I see horses' legs.
Dude, yeah.
So now I want to know. Hold on. Oh, whoa! There's color on it too.
Dude, yeah.
Hold on. I got it. Okay.
Okay. So, dude, this like the Roman numerals that you see. That's my nephew's birthday.
Aww.
So he's what 4 now. So this is 2016 11/11.
Okay.
November 11th. Yeah, man.
Dude. This is so cool. Okay, do they each have like meanings or do you just think they're cool and that's why you got them?
So no, I put a lot of thought behind each. Dude, I don't want to sound pretentious, but yeah, I think they look cool.
They look
but
super
I put a lot
cool.
of like effort into why I want it to be the way it is.
Yeah, do tell. If you're comfortable sharing.
Oh yeah. So okay, let me put it this way. So I had this whole idea about like chaos and structure and chaos, right? I read this in whatever readings I was doing, and I understood this like way of looking at life, right? Like there's different lenses of how you think about life.
Yeah.
I found this one that was really helpful of chaos and structure.
Okay.
Where there's always chaos, like the chaos being like we were talking about progress, right? Progressive thinking. That's like the chaos side of things.
Okay.
And then there's structure, which is like traditions,
Right.
which is very structured. You can't be in absolute structure because then now you're missing out on progress.
Okay.
You can't be in absolute chaos or progress because now you're missing out on traditions.
Okay.
So that's the theme that I try to keep in my tattoos.
Wow.
So if you think about it, right, like this is something called a I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
This is something called a mandala, right?
Yeah.
And it's so structured, like it's geometrically fixed.
Yeah.
Like if you think about math, right?
Yeah.
Math is like the epitome of structure. Like you can't change it. It's like absolute fact.
Right.
So this is like this symbolizes like very structured part of my life. And then after that I got this one, which is like the fact that it's colors and it's just like everywhere.
It's so cool.
That's I was like, how do I put chaos on it?
Wow.
Like, it's easy to put structure on it. So how do I put chaos? So that's where I went with these watercolors.
Wow.
And yeah, that I guess that's the entire theme of it. And then I've always loved horses. Okay, and the one tattoo that I don't regret it, right? But it's the stupidest tattoo is you can't see it. You can kind of see like the roots of a tree.
Yeah.
But it's this. I got this after 10th grade. Right?
10th grade?
Yeah.
You're a bacha.
Yeah. So I got this tattoo where this roots basically turn into a man, and the man's like standing like that.
That's kind of cool.
And on top of it says freedom.
Oh.
Because and there's like books.
Wait, that's actually pretty cool though. Oh, you can see the book.
Yeah. Dude, it's so stupid because I was like, how in India they make like 10th grade a big thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if they do it here or not.
No, in India it's huge though.
Yeah.
Because your boards and everything.
Yeah, boards.
Yeah.
So after my last board exam, I went straight after the exam to the tattoo, artist. I was like, I want a freedom tattoo.
Oh my God. You're like, I'm finally done. Jeez.
Turns out like, that was 2010. So 10 years
10
later,
years
I'm
ago.
still in school.
There, that's what it was. The knowledge is what's giving you freedom.
Right,
that's why you've never left school. Dude, 10th grade you knew. 10th standard you knew.
I had the vision.
That's so
You know what I'm saying now? Like
Yeah.
when I say I'm only 7 years old.
Yep.
Because I was stupid. Like when I was like in 10th grade.
Yeah.
All up to like sophomore year of like college, I don't know how I'm still alive, I was like,
feel that.
I was like riding motorcycles like a crazy guy. I was doing the stupidest thing that you
But
could
you
do.
lived life.
Yeah.
You lived your life.
Dude, it's kind of
Are you
weird.
looking at yourself? That's the weirdest part about the GoPro is you can't like actually see yourself when you're recording.
Yeah, and
I don't like
this is the
it.
thing about video. Like I've recorded so many podcasts, and I've never felt like like I've never felt the presence of like the recording device.
Oh, fuck.
There you go.
He's like, fine, you don't want to feel my presence, I'll go.
This
Is
one,
that like Shiv Bhagwan's
yeah,
trident?
yeah. So, like sometime around like sophomore year, like when I started like thinking about what I'm doing, why I'm doing, I got into like, you know, Hindu mythology and stuff like that. And I figured out like there's these stories that without believing in God, you can still learn a lot from these stories, especially these stories about like what Shiva is and like what the, you know, like apart from like the humanized story, there's like archetypes behind it, right? Like, you know, like archetypical stories behind what Shiva is and what he stands. I was like, this is cool. Nobody told me about this.
No, it like, and you can relate it to the modern world. You can relate it to yourself. You can relate it to your own experiences. Like, no, I think the Hindu stories, like you said, of mythology and the legends and all of that, like even Ram's story, all of it is just so interesting because it's more than just a story about God. It's like you said, there's the archetypes. You can, like, it's everything.
That's what I think is cool, man. Like these Hindu stories, like the Hindu religion, like allows you to like not believe in God and still get like the benefit sounds trivial. You know what I mean? Like still be spiritual in some sense. Without having to like be very religious.
That's what I love about Jainism too.
Okay.
Is like.
Tell me more. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So these Maharajas. Maharajs. Like, do they talk to you, like, give you life advice? Like, how do they talk? Is there a conversation happening, or is it like...
Yeah, there's a conversation, and it's weird. It's not like life advice. It's just conversation of what's going on in your life and conversation of how you feel. But the way they talk to you, it's not like they're preaching to you advice, but the knowledge that they have, like the introspection that they have, it's like you're able to take advice out of what they're saying. They're not saying do this to change something. They're saying like they're just reacting to what you're saying, and out of those reactions you hear their advice.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It's like reading between the lines.
Between the lines, exactly. Yeah.
Isn't that the way you want to get advice? Rather than people telling you what to do?
So this is such a tangent, but that is why I hate self-help books. Where
I know what you're saying.
Like,
yeah.
I hate them. Like some of them are interesting, but it's like the book The Outliers.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, Malcolm Gladwell. It's like that book isn't saying you got to do this to become successful and become an expert. It's just telling you the stories of other people. And you read between the lines and you pick up things that you read and you're like, I can apply this to my own life.
Quick book recommendation, right? But there's this guy, David Epstein.
Yeah.
He wrote this book called Range. I don't know how old it is, but I read it like super recently. It goes off of Outliers, but it's like opposite of what he's saying in a weird way, but like not really dismissing what he's saying. It's really cool. It's about like...
That's really cool.
Yeah, but sorry, I just thought that was like...
No, that's good.
But that's also the same thing, right? He's telling you stories about other people.
And you pick out of it.
Yeah.
Also, should we start going down soon?
Let's go.
I was gonna ask, I don't know when it's gonna start to get dark.
Dude, so usually if you go by 5:15, you're down in time.
What time is it now?
5:08.
Oh, we're chilling. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
We have 7 more minutes if you're not bored yet of my stupid face.
No,
okay.
Not yet. Close. Close. Don't worry, I'm close.